On September 6, 1620, a merchant ship called the Mayflower, with 102 passengers and 30 crew members, finally set sail from England to America. About one-third of these people, also referred to as pilgrims, were known at the time as the Separatists. These separatists had been living in Holland for about 12 years after escaping religious persecution in England. The cost for religious freedom was high. The freedom to worship God according to the dictates of their own conscience literally meant everything to them. And they were willing to place everything on the line, including their lives, on a dangerous and long voyage to America. The remainder of those on board were referred to as the strangers, who consisted of merchants, craftsmen, skilled workers, some indentured servants, and even 3 orphan children. They were all sailing to America for a new life of freedom and opportunity. The pilgrims and the strangers, all with various religious beliefs, still united under the banner of freedom of religion. When they arrived in America, the first thing they did was create a compact, something they could all adhere to while creating a new form of self-government. Some of the words of that compact were, "Covenant and combine ourselves together into a civil body politic." The Mayflower Compact became the precursor for the Declaration of Independence, which proclaimed that governments obtained their powers from the consent of the governed. It also created the foundation of the U.S. Constitution, which guaranteed the rights of the individual as granted by God, not government. And the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution specified some of those rights. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Last year, I had the opportunity to meet with religious groups and various political parties around the country, who all united to defend our First Amendment rights against the encroaching actions of a state government that had passed a law that was unconstitutional, according to the Chief Justice of the 11th District Court of Appeals. As we worked our way toward the U.S. Supreme Court, it was overwhelming to not only see many different religious faiths unite behind the First Amendment for freedom of religion, association, and speech, but it was heartwarming to have the support of political parties on opposite sides of the spectrum that all understood the importance of protecting these rights. And I was truly humbled when the national chairwoman of a political party with views so totally different than mine called me her brother each time we spoke. We as Americans must always remember those faithful, God-fearing pilgrims who sailed from England to America and made that perilous voyage with one primary goal: religious freedom. Everything else was secondary. Even the strangers who signed the compact agreed to covenant with each other to live with religious freedom. Everyone could live, worship, or not worship as they chose. Today, we must remind those who attack our religious freedom that the First Amendment does not guarantee freedom from religion, but freedom of religion. It means that all Americans, regardless of their religious beliefs or absence thereof, have the right to follow the dictates of their hearts, not the command of monarchs or a tyrannical government. The American term "in God we trust" came from those pilgrims who put their trust and faith in God, not man. I, like the pilgrims, put my faith and trust in God, and I adhere to the ideal of God, family, and country. It is my religious freedom that has allowed me to survive and thrive as an American. It is my hope and prayer that as Americans, the melting pot of the world, that we will always support and defend our first and most basic right, that over hundreds of years, thousands of Americans have fought, lived, and died for. Freedom. Freedom to live, freedom to worship, and do as we choose.